This is how to make a fillacello part 2. These are my stringers. They're a little bigger than the ones I had in my last video when I did my black lines. They're just big enough so that they can fill the space of each little diamond, or the space in between each of the black lines. I'll take my stringer, and with this one I already did the first line. Now what I'm going to do with these is that I'm actually building a Reticello with a darker sparkly color, and that's what will give me my pattern and the blocks of color that I then fill in later on. So I'm going to finish this Reticello up, and what I'm doing is I'm doing the same thing I did earlier with the black lines. I'm just falling into the flame, but I'm using a slightly larger flame to accommodate for the slightly larger stringer. 64 lines, giving me 32 spaces. So if I split this in 7, 32 divided by 7 is 4, and that will give me 4 sets of darker lines, which will give me 8 lines, which gives me a nice little Reticello in my pattern. Starting up from the top, come all the way down. Be very sure not to get your surface hot, because if you get the surface of your pattern hot as you're drawing, you will morph the lines, and they will no longer look like diamonds. They can look like any number of shapes, but they will get morphed and look weird. But when you pull your stringer off and you detach it, it ends in a very tiny little point. I'll use that little point to get into the point of my triangle. The bottom of your pattern will have triangles.
Major laser play. Show me that you got her. Y'all me want for you all, yo. Put me arms right around, yo. Y'all you give me the tightest hold me ever get in my life. Y'all me just want to squeeze, yo. Put me things all around, yo. Y'all you give me the tightest hold me ever get in my life.
Alright, so I'm all finished. Now I'm going to blow up a ball on this side.
Y'all you give me the tightest hold me ever get in my life. Squeeze, yeah. Around, yeah.
And I'm going to cut right here. Sometimes I'll use my L marver, or you can use your necking tool to help you out here, because you want to do your best to keep your termination point all straight. You don't want to tear away more on one side or anything like that. So you're just trying to get a direct flame cut, leave it in the flame. Instead, I like to sometimes use my L marver, so I'll come here and I'll just push with my L marver a little bit right on where I want it to cut. And I'll slowly start bringing it together. Come down here and I'll just let it cut. Now I'm moving my flame left or right. Just want to get a nice cut in. That'll detach. Now you can use a nice round punty, or I like to use the extra that comes off here because it's nice and round. But I want a direct connection to the center of this piece. If my punty is off-shaped at all, like it's broken or anything, it's not straight, and I don't connect to this straight, your termination will want to pull off one direction. So I heat up that front, come in here, direct shot, pull away, make sure it's nice and straight. I spin, detach, and we'll do this a couple times until it looks right. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm basically going to take this section that I have, and I'm going to try to turn it into pretty much a pokeball. The top of it will be a little bit smaller than the bottom. For the most part, we're pretty much just trying to make a pokeball. One top colored, bottom top white and clear, either way. I'm mainly just going to hit this color, all this color, get the color nice and hot. It's not going to happen all at once. You don't want it to. You don't want to collapse it all down. You want to just warm it, get it hot through the glass. And I'll just warm. I'll give them a little puff. It won't do much, but it is expanding the inside just a little bit. And I'm also trying to focus a lot of heat into the crevice. And by crevice, I mean this little area here where it goes from the clear to your piece. It starts at a 90-degree angle. So the 90-degree angle, it doesn't like to take that heat. The heat likes to bounce away from it. So you just give it some time. And also simultaneously, I'm going to expand this clear a little bit. It'll gather, that's fine. You're not trying to touch the clear with the flame. You're just touching the color, but the flame will brush up against that clear where they're meeting each other. Alright, so this is more or less what you're going for. A little Pokeball.
Girl, me just want to squeeze, yeah. Put me things all around, yeah. Girl, you give me the tightest hold me ever get in my life. Girl, me want to hold you. Put me arms right around, yeah. Girl, you give me the tightest hold me ever get in my life. Girl, me just want to squeeze, yeah. Put me things all around, yeah. Girl, you give me the tightest hold me ever get in my life.
So you can't see it in the video, but this guy just made his flip to the inside. So towards the end, maybe I give it a little bit of a flat. You don't necessarily have to, but it should be pretty flat. But I like to give it a little flat spot. There we go. So I'm gonna let this cool down, and then I'll show you guys where we're at. And we'll detach it.